Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It's Monday review time as I look back at Saturday's 1-1 draw. Neil Harris's men successfully bringing a point back from the Mizuno Stadium as they travelled to the northwest of England to take on fellow relegation-haunted Morecambe. A decent game by all accounts. I wasn't at the ground. Big up to the 279 hardy Gills fans that did travel up via train or coach. By all accounts, you had a bit of a nightmare. Seems there were signal failures at Lancaster train station, which meant a lot of people had to get either taxis, or lifts for the final part of the journey. And then I did see a couple of tweets saying that the supporters coach had broken down on the way home as well, which is not what you need after a 600 plus mile round trip. But fair play to each and every one of them 279 hardy souls who saw a performance again full of endeavour, if lacking a little quality, and ultimately helped us bring that point back to the southeast. Obviously, there won't be no match ratings or Gills man of the match or best Morecambe player from myself today. I wasn't at the game, so I'm going off the extended highlights and the match rerun. But all in all, it looked a fairly decent game, played in horrendous conditions. That horrible wind blowing across the stadium, raining, pitch was bobbly, sticky, but fair play to both sides. Gave it a real go. And was a draw a fair result? I'd imagine if you ask a Shrimps fan, they'd probably say they did enough to win it in terms of possession and chances. But looking at where their chances were, I think we were full value for the point. We'll only benefit from a full week on the training ground now with Neil Harris, which we've not had since he arrived just 13 days ago. But looking at the first half, both sides had 2 shots on target. Stephen Robinson's men had more ball. Understand that entirely. There's a big block early on, isn't there, from Max Amar, from Jonah Ionga. Gets a foot out. And then I think the ensuing bundle sees us manage to get it clear out for a goal kick. Conor Masterson, been super impressed with him from a Gills point of view since arriving on loan from QPR. He's played every game as part of this back three under Neil Harris. What he did very well, and I mentioned this about an Ipswich player last weekend, it was George Edmondson, was that he likes to travel with the ball and carry it out of midfield. And what he does is gives us an extra man in midfield, and he did that and almost fashioned himself a chance. Earlier he'd had one shot. I think the Gills tweeted and said that it was just wide of the far post. Obviously, they were looking at it from a slightly different angle to everyone else because it drifted a good 10 yards wide. But what he did well when he picked the ball up later on was he beat 2 men. He drove into the box. He knew that if he was touched, he'd win a penalty. And he's forced Trevor Carson into a decent save at his near post. And he looks like a really astute bit of business. So that's credit to Steve Lovell because this is a player that came in before Neil Harris took over. Just after that, I think it was Arthur Ganua hit the bar. Again, he's hit the bar, but he's off balance, falling back. Is it a real clear-cut chance? Not for me. It's a half chance. If he steers it in the top corner, fair play to him. You have to hold your hands up and say it's a great finish. But he doesn't. It clips the top of the bar and goes out for a goal kick. We had another half chance, didn't we? There was a great ball, I think, from Ollie Lee to the back post. Verdane Oliver peeled off his marker, headed it back into a dangerous area. And Robbie McKenzie arriving at pace. Gets there but doesn't make sufficient contact, and I think Carson was able to fall on it or they hacked it clear. But that was a half chance. If McKenzie gets a better contact, we could take the lead. Ben Thompson had a shot just wide, or certainly closer than Conor Masterson's, after good work from Tom Dixon-Peters. Dixon-Peters, I want to touch on him a little bit. He earned his first start, didn't he, after a bright cameo in the week in that 1-0 win over Cambridge where he was indirectly involved in the goal. And there's a couple of good bits from him. He's involved with the Ben Thompson chance, little flick round the corner. And then he's heavily involved in the second half, which we'll get to on shortly. But all in all, I thought it was 2 honest sides going at hammer and tongs first half. I'm sure as a manager, you probably felt that the game was a little bit open, but as a neutral, you can't complain too much. Shrimp's chances are from range, aren't they? Aside from that one really early on when Max Amar makes that block that I alluded to. Gills have had 2 from range, Masterson, Thompson, and we've had the half chance where Verdane Oliver's header across goal. McKenzie fails to make contact with. And the Trevor Carson one, it's a save you'd expect him to make from Conor Masterson as well. So all in all, I thought 0-0 at the break was pretty much spot on. Second half, I think it's fair to say that Morecambe continued to have more of the ball, more of the territory. But what we did again is we defended our box fairly well. We were solid in our shape. Both full-backs, wing-backs knew when to press, knew when to tuck in and make us a 5. The 3 in midfield are all experienced enough to know that if one goes, the other drops. But if we were under the cosh and without the ball for a period of time, they all dropped in and made it a flat 3. And Tom Dixon-Peters and Verdane Oliver continue to work hard up the pitch and put pressure on their defensive line. In terms of clear-cut chances, there wasn't really much again. But from one ball into our box, which gets cleared, Tom Dixon-Peters, I already mentioned, shows great awareness. It's a good first touch. He then sees Stuart O'Keefe round the corner and gives him a nice little ball, 5 to 10 yard pass. Stuart O'Keefe drives forward a few yards and then manages to get his head up. Big Verdane's peeled off left hand side and takes the ball in the inside left channel. Looks for, potential. I think he's looking all the time for a shift onto his right foot and maybe an effort at goal, but he's aware enough to realise that he's too far out. Plays a really good ball across the edge of the box to about 25 yards from goal. And Ryan Jackson, who'd not been on long, 5-10 minutes, had replaced the caution David Tatonda. It's a great goal. Jackson's taken some criticism this season, from myself included. I think he's a lot better than what he's shown, but I certainly don't think he deserves some of the criticism that he gets from some of our fan base who just basically tell him to get out of our football club, which I think is ridiculous. He's been a solid defender at this level and at the top end of League Two for the best part of a decade now. And he's got that in his locker. He's done it in his first spell. This is his second spell with us, and it's his first goal. And it's a great hit. One touch out of his feet. Arrows an absolute howitzer into the top corner. And Gills went off celebrating, didn't they, in front of the away fans, which was great to see. They were stationed on the side of the pitch. And you're hoping and praying that we can pick up them valuable 3 points, get within a point of Morecambe, and within 3 points of those teams above us. It wasn't to be, unfortunately. Morecambe, give them credit, they came on strong after that, didn't they? We had a half chance for Dane Oliver before then. Ball in from Jackson again, who's heavily involved. Good delivery. Verdane got above his man, but couldn't direct it down, and it went over Carson's net and into the home support. And then, like I say, you've got to credit the home side. They came on strong. It's a good spin from Jonathan Obika, and it's a smart finish, left-footed. Aaron Chapman's got absolutely no chance, but for me, I think Jack Tucker's just a bit too eager to get touch tight. And if you slow it down, the video, he's off balance, which means the way he's falling makes it too easy for Obika to turn inside and into a shooting position. If Jack Tucker just drops off a yard, he can then make the call whether to try and pinch it or get in front of any potential shot, which would force Obika back. But by trying to pinch it on the wrong side, effectively allows Obika into a shooting position. And there you have to give the front man credit. It's a great curling finish into the corner. And we were back to where we started at 1 each. And I think last 10 minutes, we started to look tired. I know Neil Harris alluded to it in his press conference over the weekend immediately after the game. And if you look at the highlights and the replays, there's a couple of hashed clearances, poor touches. I think they get a ball from the right-hand side that goes all the way over to the left, and there's a drilled cross-come shot that Masterson swings a leg at, and it sort of bounces between his knees, and Aaron Chapman has to make a really smart smothering stop. He's off his line really quickly and makes himself big, and the chance goes, and we manage to smuggle it clear. And then right at the end, it's an unbelievable save from the big number 12. Ball gets played into our box. McKenzie, I think it is Robbie McKenzie, left-footed clearance, goes absolutely nowhere, straight to their centre midfielder. First time ball into Obika, who gets it out of his feet on his right foot, and it looks for all the world that he's going to smash it home for 2-1 Morecambe. And Aaron Chapman gets a huge hand up, and I think it's the wrong hand. He goes with his left hand across himself, gets a big hand or wrist on it, and it goes out for a corner. And ultimately preserved a point for us, which could prove to be crucial come the end of the season. So to sum up, I think if you're a Morecambe fan, you're going to say that you've had more territory, you've had more shots, you've created some decent chances, you probably deserve to win the game because you're pressing on at the end. From a Gills point of view, Tuesday, Saturday for the last 2 weeks. Small squad, consistency has not been there for the rest of the campaign, and we're starting to get that. We're missing key personnel. Danny Lloyd out for the rest of the season, Alex McDonald the same, Mustafa Carriol, Ben Reeves, people that would allow us to keep the ball in high areas of the pitch. So I think it's a deserved point for sheer endeavour and the willingness to chuck ourselves in front of everything again. Max Amar first half, Aaron Chapman twice at the end. I think Jack Tucker made one first period as well. They've had 5 shots on target, Morecambe. We've had 3. So it's not a great deal in terms of those that can really trouble the back of the net. It was just at the end, like I say, we looked leggy, started making wrong decisions, poor clearances, but we were still willing to do the dirty side and the ugly side of the game, which we've not done enough all season, and that's why we're in this position. But there is still chance that we can get out of it. And in terms of results going around us, Crewe got smacked, Doncaster got smacked, Fleetwood lost, Shrewsbury lost. Wimbledon only drew. So we didn't lose any ground, obviously leading with 15 minutes to play. If we'd seen it out, it'd have been a monumental afternoon. We'd have been down to a couple of points from safety and one from Morecambe. But it's not to be. But we get a full week on the training ground now, which Neil Harris hasn't had. I think I've already mentioned that. We can rest a few legs. We don't have to worry about preparing for a game. We can put some plans into place for what will be a tough game next Saturday at home to Plymouth. And then the one the Tuesday after is absolutely monster, isn't it? At home to Wimbledon, who are down there and scrapping for survival as well. But yeah, I think if someone had said to me when Neil Harris walked through the door on deadline day on the 31st of January, if you'd taken 6 points from 6 at home and taken a draw and a defeat on the road, we'd have probably bitten your arm off. So it's been a great start for Harris. He's given us some hope. He's given us some belief. He's given us our football team back. And that's the biggest thing. Right, that's enough from me. As I say every week, I hope your Monday's not been too stressful. Never great, is it? Weather's cold, it's still dark. Obviously, if your football team picks up points, then it's a little bit easier. Please keep checking out the 5-year anniversary video. There's some really good memories in there. Lots of highs, lots of lows. That's the nature of supporting Gillingham. 4 managers I think we've had since I've been doing this channel, with Bars and Stocky and everybody else that now contributes. So again, a massive thank you to everybody. The channel's nothing without your support, without retweets, interactions, talking to me, coming and see us at games and stuff like that. So thanks again. Just got over 1,800 subscribers, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's around a third of the Gills average attendance, which is crazy. Right, I'll be back Thursday evening. We'll hopefully track down a Plymouth fan to join me for a match preview ahead of another massive game next Saturday. We'll be then back at the ground at the Priestfield on Saturday for another match day live. But until then, I hope you enjoy your week. And up the Gills.